What is up, my ninjas? I'm Strydent, and I am back with another review. This time we are looking at the Pursuit of Cobra, Cobra Commander. This guy is pretty dope. He eluded me for a long time, and I just kind of forgot about him until last year when we were at the Collectors Convention. Me and ODC, that's me. And I picked him up then, and he's dope. Initially, he was a mail-away figure for the Rise of Cobra line, and I want to say 2010. And then in 2011, he was part of the Pursuit of Cobra line proper. This is just a testament to how the cats dealing with Pursuit of Cobra were able to take things and ideas that were given to us in Rise of Cobra and capitalize off of them and make them something else entirely. It was just pure quality. So, as I always do, I'm going to go through the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between, and hopefully you guys will learn something and enjoy it on the way. So let's go. So right off the bat, this sculpt it's dope. It's just so immaculate, and he looks like a thinking, type of villain. It's a very calculating kind of villain. As you can see, it is essentially a retool of the Rise of Cobra, Cobra Commander. Repainted him. Actually, I should say a repaint, not a retool. I customized mine, so that's why I have that helmet on. I like that one. It's more along the lines of what we saw in Retaliation and what Cobra Commander is supposed to look like, so I dig that look better. But I use this red suited Cobra Commander as Crake. I always thought it made sense to, make a differentiation between them. So all my red and black Cobra Commanders are Crake. But the details, you didn't lose anything. If anything, the details are now accentuated by this chrome, this red chrome motif. And then you can see the CC1, Cobra Commander 1. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know why he would need a call numbers or letter on himself, but whatever. But I just dig the look. He looks like some kind of international, thug leader. But like I said before, you can see all the details that were kind of a carryover from the previous one. Now, the original mask was clear, and you could see, obviously, the burnt face underneath. This version, they chose to keep it chrome to throw back to the original Cobra Commander, which I like. I feel like that works so much better, and it's just that shape is just meaner, you know what I mean? And it makes him look more intimidating. So I'm really happy with that part. I think they succeeded really well with that whole look. But overall, he has a very gangsterish vibe, old school gangsterish kind of vibe. And that vibe, I mean, it just works. I don't really have any complaints with this design. I think it just fits. He looks kind of tactical, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess posh, because he's got the fancy shoes on. He's got the fancy jacket, the slacks. He looks like a guy who spends some money, you know what I mean? So, it does fit the role. And then depending on how you make your Cobra Commander emote and whatnot, you can still have very much the Cobra Commander that we all know and love. So I'm cool with this. I have little to no problem with all these changes of the design. And it's strange how just a color scheme change and a different paint job on the mask, and you have a whole different vibe. It's kind of crazy, I mean, when you think about it. But they pulled this off. They pulled it off really well, and I am really glad to have him in my collection. And I think that if you look past the movie itself, this representation of the character, it just works. I mean, there's no other way around it. It works. It's a very menacing looking figure, and I just totally dig it. Now, the accessories. He comes with just a little bit of accessories, but they're actually the kind that seem to fit this character perfectly. First, at the top, you have the multi-function individual assault weapon, which is like, in my opinion, a small heavy assault, like heavy machine gun. Then you have the pulse pistol, and then you have the standard, the Cobra standard, which is pretty dope. It's very well detailed, very well painted for the little bit of paint that's on there. Here is the dossier. If you want to read that and figure out some cool stuff about Cobra Commander, there you go. I will let that stay up for a few more seconds. As you can see, the name for that gun, the MIA, multifunction individual assault weapon. I like it. I think it works. It's cool posing him with that weapon too. It's strange enough that you get that it came from Mars, Mars Industries, and it looks functional enough too that you get what it is. It doesn't seem too sci-fi-ish for its own good. The paint job on it is very simple, very utilitarian, like most of the weapons. The pulse pistol is dope because it pegs in on his leg, just like with the original one. The original one had like a device with the nanomachines that pegged onto his leg. But there's the big old peg. It's not too big that it draws a ton of attention to itself when it's in his hand, especially sitting right next to his thumb like that. So, posing him, it's not going to really, stand out. And I like that. And it's all black, so that helps too. The last piece, it is the drone, the Cobra Hiss drone. Essentially, it's just a miniature Cobra Hiss. I couldn't find mine for the life of me, so I took these pictures from yojo.com. It's a very cool design. The same exact thing came with Retaliation Ultimate Firefly, I want to say, except his was black. But this thing's kind of cool. It's 100% the Pursuit of Cobra Hiss, the Crimson Hiss, just shrunken down with a missile sticking out of the front. It was weird at first because I was like, why do I have a miniature? And then I thought about it like, oh shit, it's a drone. Why they put this with Cobra Commander, I have no idea, but it's a cool little, piece of equipment for him. I mean, obviously you can give it to anyone. One of the things it does is it can also house the, the MIA, and it can connect to CoCo's back, which I honestly don't see any reason why I would be putting this thing on his back. But, if that's your forte, then, knock yourself out. For me, maybe this would be on the back of a Cobra Trooper, but I don't know about using it for CoCo. But, it's cool that it's an option. Options are nice. First up, we have the Rise of Cobra Kit Bashed Cobra Commander from my collection versus my stock Pursuit of Cobra Commander. You already saw the differences earlier. The differences essentially are the paint job and the helmets. Now, out of the box, the Rise of Cobra Commander has a clear mask. So what I want to do is show you the difference, between those two masks. This is your Pursuit of Cobra mask. It's all shiny and silver. This is your Rise of Cobra mask. It's also shiny. It's the same design. It's just it's different in the material, because it's clear. I felt that this design, the way it was, it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible, especially if it was a temporary thing and down the line he'd get the metal mask. Here's a comparison of all the Cobra Commanders that I own. You get to see all the little details and see how many different changes happen. And as you can see, you've got helmets, you've got hoods, you've got, biomasks or BADR masks, and you got the, silver mask again. So, you've got a nice variety, but they look good. There's nothing wrong with the design aesthetics chosen for these Cobra Commanders. Now, these are just my favorite designs. If there was an actual official Crake figure, then you best believe Crake would be right here. Crake as Cobra Commander would be right here. But I didn't realize how many I had until, doing this kind of a review. And I think when I did my collection video, I mentioned this. But I seem to like a lot of Cobra Commander's looks. And now for the bottom line. So This Cobra Commander is perfect if you're going for the semi-realistic, slash sci-fi marrying of your G.I. Joe collection. A lot of people just collect and get things just to get them so you can have all of the shit, but there's no rhyme or reason to the collection. My collection is based on a lot of the aesthetic that the movie started because it made sense and it's modernized, but there's a nice little bit of, futuristic, techno-ish, sci-fi-ishness to it that works for me. So he fits in that respect. And as you've seen with the IDW comics, they've drawn from this design. So, and that's not to say that there's some kind of standard, at IDW, but some of the better modern comics have drawn from this design and it worked. So if you dig that stuff, then this is a no-brainer. He still goes for very decent prices. I think I got mine for $10, so you could too. So, hopefully you guys have seen enough to help you make your decision. As usual, though, this is my story and I'm sticking to it. Thank you guys for listening and watching. You have been great. This has been a look at the POC Cobra Commander by Hasbro, back when they gave a shit. But yeah, I love this figure. I think it's a well done figure, and I think you guys will dig it too. So that's it for me. You guys have been great. Peace outside. If you enjoyed what you saw, please give it a like, a share, let your friends know. Check me out on social media. All the links are in the description. And if you really want to help me out big time, jump on Patreon and support the channel. Every little bit helps, the smallest amount to the largest amount. And last but not least, check out my comic, War of the Gods. Issue 2 is on sale now on Indie Planet. And the links are in the description. It's some superhero fun. And as a smaller independent book, it needs all the views, all the eyes on it as possible. So check it out, show it to your friends. Every view helps greatly. And yeah, that's it for me. Thanks again.